Have you ever wondered how a young man from Macedonia became a legendary conqueror who shaped the ancient world? Let's unravel the enigma that is Alexander the Great. Born in the heart of Macedonia, Alexander was steeped in the intrigues and ambitions of a royal court from his earliest days. His childhood was not all play and no work. It was filled with lessons of diplomacy, warfare, and statesmanship that would shape his destiny. His father, King Philip II, was a formidable ruler in his own right, but it was Alexander who would eclipse him in fame and glory. Under his father's tutelage, Alexander's formidable intellect, unyielding will, and military prowess were honed to perfection, paving the way for his ascension to the throne. However, a throne was not enough for this ambitious young man. His eyes were set on conquering the known world. But who exactly was Alexander, and how did his conquest change the world? Born to King Philip II of Macedonia, Alexander's journey to greatness began in his youth. As the son of a king, Alexander was afforded opportunities many could only dream of. Yet his achievements were not merely the result of his royal lineage, but rather the product of his own ambition and determination. One of the most significant influences on young Alexander was his tutor, Aristotle. Yes, the Aristotle, the philosopher whose work would later shape Western thought. Aristotle instilled in Alexander an appreciation for knowledge and discovery, shaping his worldview and approach to leadership. He taught him about politics, philosophy, ethics, and the art of persuasion, all of which would prove invaluable in his future endeavors. But the making of a conqueror requires more than a good education. Alexander's military training began at an early age, under the watchful eye of his father. King Philip was a seasoned warrior himself, and he molded Alexander into a formidable military leader. They fought side by side in several campaigns, with Alexander proving his mettle on the battlefield time and time again. However, Alexander's path to power was not without obstacles. When his father was assassinated, the young prince found himself thrust into the role of king. But Alexander was not one to be daunted by such challenges. He swiftly dealt with any opposition and consolidated his power, demonstrating not only his strategic acumen, but also his relentless drive to succeed. His ascension to the throne was marked by a sense of purpose and a clear vision for the future. He was not content to rule over Macedonia alone. He yearned for more. He envisioned an empire that would stretch across continents, bridging cultures and civilizations. This vision was fueled by his thirst for knowledge, his military prowess, and his unyielding will to conquer. With the throne now his, Alexander set his sights beyond Macedonia. His journey from prince to king was just the beginning. The making of a conqueror was complete, but the story of Alexander the Great was far from over. Alexander's ambition was not limited to the borders of Macedonia. No, indeed. His eyes were set on the grandeur of the Persian Empire. His first campaign began in 334 BC, when he crossed the Hellespont into Asia Minor with an army of 35,000 men, ready to challenge the Persian might. Alexander's military genius was apparent from the get-go. At the Battle of Granicus, against a larger Persian force, he employed a bold, direct attack, leading his companion cavalry in a daring charge. His audacity paid off. The Persians were routed, and Western Asia Minor fell into Alexander's hands. But his conquests didn't stop there. He marched his army down the coast, liberating Greek city-states along the way. In each city, he installed democratic governments and promoted Greek culture, earning him the gratitude and loyalty of the local populations. Then, Alexander turned his attention to Egypt. In 332 BC, he entered Egypt unopposed. The Egyptians, weary of Persian rule, welcomed him as a liberator. He was declared pharaoh, and he founded the city of Alexandria, which would become a beacon of culture and learning in the ancient world. But the jewel in the Persian crown, the city of Tyre, still eluded him. Undeterred, Alexander laid siege to the city for 7 long months. His perseverance paid off. In a brilliant stroke of military strategy, he built a causeway to the island city and finally breached its walls. Victory after victory, Alexander proved himself not just a conqueror, but a leader of extraordinary vision and courage. His tactical genius, combined with his indomitable will, allowed him to overcome all obstacles and achieve his grand ambitions. Yet these were not the end of his dreams. No, these were mere stepping stones in his grand plan. For Alexander, the world was his to conquer, and he had only just begun. Alexander's victories were just the beginning of his grand plan. Alexander didn't just conquer lands, he also spread Greek culture and ideas. Alexander the Great was not only a formidable military strategist, but also a master of cultural diplomacy. His vision was not merely about expanding his empire's physical boundaries, but also about instilling Hellenistic culture and philosophies in the conquered lands. One of Alexander's key strategies was cultural assimilation. He encouraged intermarriages between his Greek soldiers and the locals of the conquered territories. This clever move served a dual purpose. It not only strengthened his rule through personal alliances, but also facilitated the spread of Greek language, arts, science, and philosophy. Alexander's cultural exchange strategy was not just about marrying off his soldiers. He himself married Roxana, a princess of Bactria, a region in modern-day Afghanistan. This union symbolized the blending of cultures and was a testament to his commitment to integrate the cultures of Greece and Persia. The establishment of new cities was another crucial element of Alexander's empire expansion strategy. The most famous among these was Alexandria in Egypt. Alexandria was not just a city, it was a beacon of Hellenistic culture. With its grand library and lighthouse, it became the epicenter of learning and cultural exchange. Scholars from all corners of the known world flocked to Alexandria, bringing with them their own knowledge and ideas. This fusion of cultures and philosophies led to unprecedented advancements in various fields, including science, arts, literature, and philosophy. But Alexander's cultural exchange was not a one-way street. He also embraced and adopted various aspects of the cultures he encountered. From adopting Persian dress and customs to incorporating Persian soldiers into his army, Alexander showed a degree of cultural flexibility that was rare for his time. So in essence, Alexander's empire was more than a vast stretch of land. It was a cultural melting pot where Greek, Egyptian, Persian, and many other cultures coexisted, interacted, and influenced each other. Alexander's empire was not just about territory, it was a melting pot of cultures. But even the greatest of conquerors cannot escape mortality. This truth hit Alexander like a bolt of lightning as he embarked on his final campaigns in India. His dreams of a world united under his banner, his vision of an empire where the East and West would intermingle, were to be challenged not by enemy forces, but by his own weary troops. After years of relentless warfare, fatigue had finally caught up with Alexander's men. The once invincible army, which had marched across deserts, rivers, and mountains, now longed for the comforts of home. In the scorching plains of India, they mutinied. They refused to march any further, forcing Alexander to turn back. This was a blow to his invincible persona, a chink in his armor of invincibility. But the indomitable spirit of Alexander wouldn't let him falter. Returning to Babylon, Alexander found himself in the throes of a new battle, one that he was ill-prepared for. His body, strained by years of warfare and excessive indulgence, was succumbing to illness. The conqueror, who seemed invincible in the battlefield, was now grappling with his own mortality. His health deteriorated rapidly, and soon, at the untimely age of just 32, Alexander the Great breathed his last. His death sent shockwaves across his vast empire. The man who had arguably been the most powerful person in the world was no more. His untimely demise left a power vacuum that led to the fragmentation of his empire and the emergence of new powers. The man who had dreamt of a united world had left behind a divided one. Alexander's death marked the end of an era, but his legacy was far from over. His story serves as a timeless reminder of the transience of power, the futility of conquest, and the inevitable clash between human ambition and the inexorable march of time. But it also reminds us of the indomitable human spirit and the power of a single individual to shape the course of history. Alexander's empire did not survive long after his death, but his influence did. This influence was felt in the immediate aftermath of his passing, when his vast territories were divided among his generals, known as the Diadochi. This division may have led to the dissolution of his empire, but it also led to the creation of new Hellenistic kingdoms, each carrying a piece of Alexander's vision. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of Alexander was the Hellenistic culture that he spread. This blend of Greek and Eastern elements permeated the regions he conquered, influencing everything from art and architecture to philosophy and science. It was a cultural revolution that would shape the ancient world for centuries to come. And so, we understand that Alexander's true conquest was not just of lands and peoples, but of minds and cultures. Alexander the Great, a conqueror, a visionary, a man who shaped the ancient world. His story is a testament to the power of ambition and the enduring influence of culture.